Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start. I know we like our meetings, but thank you, everyone, for being here today for this one. It's 6:00 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. Welcome, members of the public, board members, and staff. Thank you for attending. As noted in Board Bylaws 9324, this meeting is being video recorded and broadcast via link on our website. The recording and broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. I like to remind the audience members and speakers that it is not unusual for students and young children to be in attendance at our meetings or to watch the recorded broadcast. I invite you to model civility and decorum as we go about the business of the board this evening. While I cannot prohibit anyone from using unprofessional language, please think about the students and adults who are watching our proceedings. We invite you to show support for a speaker by waving your fingers. Rather than clapping or cheering, I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Ms. Garcia will take roll. Please stand. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Garcia? Yep.
Thank you. We will now take roll. Trustee COC.
Here.
Trustee Verbath.
Here.
Trustee Emery.
Here.
Trustee Ward.
Here.
And for the record, we'll note that Trustee Rawlings is not here this evening.
Thank you. We now move on to Part 2, approval of the agenda. Trustees, are there any questions? All right. May I have a motion to approve Agenda Item 2.1, approval and or reorganization of the June 25, 2025 meeting agenda?
So moved. Second?
Trustee Verbath made the motion and Trustee Emery made the second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Garcia, please call for a vote.
Trustee COC.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Trustee Verbath.
Yes.
Trustee Emery.
Yes.
Trustee Ward.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We now move on to Part 3, communications. Item 3.1, public comments. As this is a special meeting, we will take public comment on agenda items only. Public comment on non-agenda items will be heard at our next regular meeting in August. I will be using the gavel if you do speak to non-agenda items. I just want to remind everybody to speak to agenda items tonight. Have any blue cards been received?
We have a total of 8 blue cards.
Okay. Per Education Code 35145.5 and Government Code 54954.3, members of the public have the opportunity to provide public comment in closed session items. We invite you to show support for the speaker by waving your fingers rather than clapping or cheering. We have received a total of 9, you said right? Oh, I'm sorry. 8 blue cards for closed session items, or actually for these items. When I call your name, please come to the podium, state your name, and indicate whether or not you live within the boundaries of the school district. You will have 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. We will have the timer on the screen, and your mic will be muted when your time has expired. The first speaker is Shauna Hurst.
Shauna Hurst, Carlsbad resident, frequent flyer at these meetings. And I missed all of the fun last week, but I did watch it. And I just wanted to say thank you to the 4 trustees here tonight for not passing the budget last week. As you know, I attend many meetings, and I did not feel that board policies were followed to get to that, and I'm thankful for this for your votes. And I would vote for you to adopt the revised budget tonight. And I'm also disappointed in President Rawlings and not being here tonight and her demeanor in the meeting last week. Especially, she talked repeatedly at the end of the meeting on another item about performing your board duties that you're elected to, and she did not do that on the budget for you guys. As the board president and as the longest-standing trustee, she should have given you guys the board policy that would have put you here in a more easily manner for you. She should have given you the parliamentary procedures to get here tonight, and it's just very unfortunate that that she didn't guide you through this budget process in a way that conforms with all the budget laws and, or not codes, but I know you guys know, there's a zillion codes. There's your board codes. And I just appreciate the fact that you saw last week that the budget that was on the docket did not conform to the board code with having 5% in reserves. And I'm grateful that we're here tonight and look forward to tonight's discussion. Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Richard Wallace.
Good evening, Richard Wallace. I'm a resident of Carlsbad, and thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. I appreciate your service, the long hours, the late night meetings, and frequently when people come to address you, they're maybe not happy as possible. But I want to speak briefly about an item I feel is very important. That is the duty that the board owes as fiduciaries, as trustees for the school. There are three basic duties that the trustees owe to the school: duty of obedience to the laws and regulations and its own internal policies, a duty of care in making decisions, and lastly, a duty of loyalty, and that is to put the interests of the board ahead of any interests held personally, and to disclose and to be transparent about any conflicts of interest. I believe in passing a school board budget and other duties that this duty of loyalty and care is paramount. I'd also like to encourage the board to always behave in a civil and respectful manner toward each member of the board so that full discussion and dialogue can be had. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck with tonight's meeting.
Mary Davis.
Hi, good evening. Mary Davis, government watchdog and accountability partner. Again, I do not live in Carlsbad, but maybe tonight I just identify as living here. I bring that out tongue in cheek because, again, we need to be grounded in reality. And one of the things I see when I go to different meetings, a watchdog throughout the county. And budget is at first and foremost. We know that there is going to be a shortage coming down at the state and the federal level. There's a lot of uncertainty. The county just spoke about it. And knowing that, why would we destabilize your budget? So I do commend the trustees for having moved forward and being accountable and doing the right thing in the fiduciary and to your constituents. They are counting on you, but more importantly, the students are counting on you. So thank you for bringing stability. I appreciate this special meeting. I know you had to give up time with your families to be here again tonight. Touching on real quickly the gavel, I do hope you are more judicious with it. And I do have issues with Ms. Rawlings, her past behavior, both her founded FPPC violations, as well as how she's treated parents, the public, and her fellow board members. It's time for a change, and I hope you'll consider that in the future. Thank you.
Scott Davison.
No script tonight. I'm just going to talk to you guys. There's a reason we're here, and you guys know the main reason we're here, which is you had to call a special meeting. It shouldn't have had to happen, right? Like if you know parliamentary procedure, you could have made an amendment to a motion and just we would have been done last week, right? You know, as an attorney and has gone in through Brown Act training, what they tell every board when you go through Brown Act training is you will violate the Brown Act at least once at every meeting, right? So the point is you have to be trying to do your best, right? You're not always going to be perfect, but you have to be trying. That means you have to be able to work together, right, as a board. You guys obviously can figure out how to work together, but there's one person who isn't here tonight that doesn't want to work with you or with us or with anybody. She has her own agenda. She has her own way of going about things, and if she doesn't win, then she does it anyway, right? And so the question you guys have to ask is that the person you want leading your board? Somebody that's not
Scott,
going
I'm
to
sorry,
help
are you talking about the budget? Or?
Yes, so I'm
Okay,
getting to the
all
budget,
right.
which is the reason we're here tonight, right?
Okay, yes, yeah.
Is to
wanna
approve
make
the
sure
budget
you're
that
on
you
that
tried to
topic.
approve last week, right? And so that's the point, is you could have approved the budget last week with a simple amendment. If you had looked at the little Robert's Rules sheet that Trustee Rawlings had, it didn't provide for anything that she said. You could have easily amended it and fixed it. So that's the question you have tonight, is I'm very thankful that you guys had the courage to have this special meeting and come here and fix the budget and take out the $3 million and put it back in the reserves where it belongs. And I encourage you to work together as a board and think about ways that the board can work better together. If you want to know the history of that stabilization arrangement, where that $3 million came from, go back to December when Kathy Rawlings made that request. Her first request was to change a rule that she had voted against in 2016, and she was the only one who voted against it. She wanted to take the reserve money out in 2016. Here we are 9 years later, and she tried to do it again, and when she didn't get her way, she tried to do it without your permission. So think about that in terms of who you want leading your board and who's going to help you figure things out like this budget. Because we can do better. We all are here tonight to encourage you and to thank you and to work better on things like this budget and hope that you guys can do better, but it requires new leadership. So thanks.
Tamara Dixon.
Hello, Tamara, and I reside in Carlsbad. Okay, thank you for calling this special meeting today. In addition to finalizing the budget, excluding the $3 million that Kathy Rawlings illegally transferred, I strongly urge you to take this opportunity to remove Kathy from the board. If the vote ends in a 2-2 tie, it will be clear to parents and taxpayers.
Tamara, I'm sorry, you're going to speak to the budget, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
This
what you're
has
talking about?
everything to do with the budget.
Okay.
Let's see, where was I? Where each of you stands, either with Kathy, the teachers union, and the radical pro-CRT agenda, or those demanding transparency, integrity, and accountability. It's time to remove divisive and disruptive bullying of Rawlings and place someone in her rightful position. And Michelle, I would be okay to see you be the president as long as you could work with all the other trustees on everything as well as the budget. I'd like to see that happen tonight. But otherwise, I would really suggest Trustee Verbeth take her rightful position as the president. And I just urge you all to do the right thing. Let Kathy do her own thing, and you guys do what's right and do the budget tonight, and we'd like to see everything rectified tonight. Thank you.
Jane Walker.
Hi, I'm Jean Walker, and I'm a Carlsbad resident. I wanted to come tonight to address the budget issues in these emergency meetings. This is the second emergency school board meeting in the last few months. These occurred because the school board president authorized things beyond her elective capacity, and the school board attorneys had to rectify the issue. First, no one has time to oversee what is happening at the school board. We elect you as our neighbors and appreciate your work to oversee issues, and we expect you to do a good job. If one school board member is leading you down the wrong road, It's incumbent upon each of you to speak up about it. You wouldn't let your own kids be led astray by someone who wasn't looking out for their best interest. Why are you letting someone else do that to you? Second, misappropriation of public funds is a really big deal. People get criminally prosecuted for it. Just ask the Sweetwater Union High School District Board of Trustees, several of whom were prosecuted a few years ago, when all they needed to do was say no to someone they knew was leading down the wrong path. Third, to the school board attorney. It's not worth jeopardizing your state bar licensure to defend someone you know is doing the wrong thing. Trustees, it's not right for you to put the attorney in the position to risk his state bar licensure for this. Trustee Emery, last week, you asked as part of the budget process to inappropriately have Carlsbad Unified School District reimburse Solana Beach Unified School District, where you are a teacher, for 20 days worth of absences you would incur due to your duties on the school board. You came to my door. I live in your district. And we had a really nice conversation.
Please make sure that you're focused on the agenda item.
This is
okay?
part of the budget, this 20 days of reimbursement, right?
No, we're talking about the line item that's on there.
That's a
for
budget
the
issue.
agenda.
If you had told me that that was going to happen, it would have impacted how I decided to vote. Is being elected to the school board really worth damaging your integrity? Is it worth it to model underhanded behavior to your own kids and students? We have programming in schools to empower our kids with leadership and backbone. Demonstrate those qualities for yourself. Like I said, I don't have time to attend these meetings or get involved in these issues. I appreciate that each of you is willing to run for office. And please consider who got you in
Thank you.
that spot tonight. Whether that person is leading you down the right
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
or that person refuses to show up.
Teresa Wallace, you're up next.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight in regards to fiscal responsibility. You know, it's been more and more disconcerting to me as I've observed the past month. I've come to all the school board meetings to see the lack of civility, the lack of transparency, and especially the lack of fiscal accountability, which is what we're talking about tonight. The citizens of Carlsbad have elected our board to represent us, to improve our schools, to be fiscally responsible, and to do this honestly, civilly, and as united as possible. And I know there's going to be disagreements, and that's okay, but you're examples to our community, and especially to our students. Several weeks ago, dozens and dozens and dozens of community members sent emails in calling for greater transparency and civility. But since then, the tone on the board has not improved. This is the beginning of a new superintendent's tenure. Community members welcome you. We're excited to have you, Superintendent Norman. And we look forward to working with you to improve the schools in Carlsbad. However, I think this progress is going to be considerably slowed down unless the dynamic on this board changes. I mean, you're in an extra meeting tonight because of some dynamics on the board. I don't like to call out people publicly, but I've seen that what I've seen in the last month just can't continue. And I believe that the only way to change this dynamic is to have a new board president and to act fiscally responsible tonight. This would go a long way to restoring confidence in the board, increase transparency, and improve civility, and also lower the temperature in the community a little bit. I believe Trustee Rawlings' tenure traditionally should have been up last January as board president. And so we want to ask her to do the right thing and step aside. It's time for a new start. We have you. It's time for a new start and new leadership. So thank you, and thank you for all you do. I know this is a thankless job, and we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We now move on to Part 4, open session. Item 4.1, adoption of the 2025-26 annual budget. Trustees, this is a discussion action item. I will now hand it over to Mrs. Suzanne O'Connell.
Thank you, Vice President Ward. The district has developed its proposed annual budget for 25-26 The California legislature and the governor have yet to agree upon the final state budget, but they are very close. As a result, the district's proposed budget has been developed using the revenue assumptions provided in the governor's May revise as noted in Exhibit A. On June 11th, the Board of Trustees conducted public hearings on the district's 25-26 proposed annual budget and the LCAP. The expenditure plan for fiscal year 25-26, Prop 30 EPA Act, was also incorporated into the budget. On June 18th, staff presented the general fund budget with no changes for adoption. The motion to adopt the district's 2025-26 proposed annual budget failed to pass 4-1. Staff subsequently received consensus from the board to make the following change to the ending fund balance. Return the stabilization arrangement to its original commitment of $3.124 million and eliminate board LCAP priorities under other commitments. In order to give the public an opportunity to review the changes and in the spirit of transparency, the decision was made to bring the revised budget back to the board at a special meeting prior to June 30th. And here we are tonight. So with that, I open it up and return it back to you.
Thank you. Trustees, do you have any questions? Trustee Verbath.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Mrs. O'Connell, for stepping in and being our interim. The district is really appreciative of your time, and thank you very much. I want to make clear up front that I know you were operating on guidance or instructions that were provided to you. We've had a couple discussions, and so I appreciate the time that we've had. I believe that the cabinet, Mr. Dill or Trustee Rawlings, had provided some of this instruction or guidance to you since you had stepped in to help out. So I just wanted to recognize that up front. But I do have a question. Were you told that the December vote by the board was an approval of a recategorization of the stabilization fund and a reduction of the reserves for economic uncertainty from 5% to 3%, or just a request to have a discussion about approving the recategorization at a future meeting?
The information that was provided to me when I started in late January, early February, was that there were 2 items that received consensus to bring back for information discussion. And those 2 items were, number 1, to reduce the reserve from the 5%, which was in our board policy, to 3%. And the other, and then as a part of that, was to take the funds from the difference between 5 and 3%, add them to the stabilization arrangement funds, and rename it as board LCAP priorities.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the 25-26 annual budget, Exhibit A?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, now is the time for discussion, and I would like to begin that discussion by sharing the reason for my vote to approve the budget. I will be voting to move this forward because I have serious concerns about the $4.5 billion in cuts to education by our federal government. I'm also mindful of how the state of California will manage future budget allocations for education, the implications of our status as basic aid district, and the financial impact of charter schools on our district resources. I would also like to see how we will do financially moving forward as a basic aid district. My vote is not about any one trustee or any false claims about someone tried to steal $3 million or any amount of money, because that simply is not true. This vote is about ensuring that we have a sound budget that supports all of our students, especially those facing academic and social challenges. I hope that as we all share our votes here today, we're doing so with clarity about why we are on this board, with students at the center of our decision. Go ahead.
Yes, I would also just like to share, one of the things that is important as a board is to make decisions with the information you have. And unfortunately, in these times, information is constantly shifting. I remember the meeting in December when we discussed, and we had talked about that basic aid was possibly likely. We needed to wait and see a few years, and fast forward a few months later, and it looks like our projections are pretty good. Same with our housing and whatnot. And so, we're only making our decisions based on those facts and the information that's provided at this time. I do want to still clarify that any decision that I make in regards to my position here is for the students, and I do think it is important to continually put the funds back to the students. We can provide the best education possible. So, with the changing climate and circumstance, I believe that this is the best move given the new information we have. However, I'm hoping that in the near future, we can continue to use some of our funds as we move into basic aid and hopefully grow our reserve as well to put those back into the classroom where they really belong.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Ward and Trustee Emery, for your comments, and I appreciate those. I will be supporting the amended budget tonight as well, and I want to thank my fellow trustees for being willing to hold this special meeting to approve the amended budget. I also want to make clear that the entire reason we are here is because we apparently have a board president who does not respect the board or our rules that are before us, or legal counsel who clearly told us that the request made by Trustee Rawlings in December was only a request, not an approved action, and that it was rejected by the board in January. Instead, Trustee Rawlings abused her authority as president and unilaterally usurped the will of the board to improperly transfer $3.1 million out of the stabilization fund, hoping we wouldn't notice. This behavior has to end. And it is up to all four of us to take a stand, and I hope that will happen soon. Thank you to the staff who worked hard on this budget, and I'm glad that we can have this final vote prior to the end of June. Happy summer to all of you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments? Okay, Ms. Garcia, please call for a vote.
Trustee COC?
Yes.
Trustee Emery, Trustee Verbath?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Trustee Ward?
Yes.
The motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We now move on to item 4.2, the 2025 school board meeting schedule. Trustees, this is a discussion action item. I will now hand it over to Superintendent Dr. Norman.
Thank you. Good evening, trustees. At the December 18, 2024 meeting, the Board of Trustees, the 2025 school board meeting schedule was approved. As there is currently no meeting scheduled in the month of July, staff would like to request that the August 20th, 2025 meeting be moved to August 13th, 2025 to allow for the timely hiring of personnel before the start of school. Thank you. It is respectfully recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the changes to the August meeting date as presented in Exhibit A.
Trustees, do you have any questions? Whoa, that's loud. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the changes to the August meeting date as presented in Exhibit A?
So moved.
Second.
Now is the time for discussion. Any discussion?
No. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Garcia, please call for a vote.
Trustee COC?
Yes.
Trustee Verbath?
Yes.
Trustee Emery?
Yes.
Trustee Ward?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We now move on to Part 5, Communications. Item 5.1, Governance Team Reports. This is a time for trustees to provide a brief report if they've attended committee meetings where they represent the district. Are there any governance team reports? Thank you. We now move on to item 5.2, Trustee Requests for Information from Staff. Trustees, these are Trustees, are there any requests for information from staff that have already been discussed with the superintendent and have been recommended to bring to the board? Okay. Okay. As a reminder, okay, never mind. We don't have any. Thank you. We move on to item 5.3, trustees' requests for future agenda items. Trustees, are there any requests for future agenda items that have already been discussed with the superintendent and have been recommended to bring to the board? Okay. All right. Okay. Part 6, adjournment. So it is 6:30, and the special meeting is now adjourned. Oh, I get to do this? Yay. Our regular meeting will take place on August 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Carlsbad Unified School District office. Thanks, everybody.